Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Oh, today's going to be a good one. So we are doing the first sleepover streamathon of this year. I have some stuff going on in the background that's like super stressful, so I figured for the next 24 hours or a little less, depends on how far I go. I'm just gonna play games and stream it and kind of just be here and just have a good time. I'm starting my modded Oblivion playthrough. We have upwards of 110 plugins, but a total of, I don't know, it doesn't really say. It's like over 200 mods. I'm using a collection. It's called Echoes of Oblivion, a true RPG. Now, I like that collection. It's the highest rated collection on Oblivion Remastered's Nexus mod page. But there's a few things that I didn't like about it. One of the big ones was you can't, like, you don't heal. You don't regenerate your health. And I tried starting this playthrough like a week ago. And I found out that I didn't like that. So what I ended up doing was I ended up removing one of the mods, the mod that was doing it. But the problem is because I'm running a collection and because this person is like keeping this collection up to date, the problem is he's put in certain things within the collection that this his collection requires, and that mod is one of the mods that the collection requires for things to run properly. So I moved on to another way of doing things, and I got like pretty far. And what I ended up doing was I ended up just creating my own collection. Because Oblivion Remastered is only a year old and there are not that many mods, I decided to go in and look at every category from the beginning to the end and just choose my own mods. The problem with that is I got pretty far in it, but I realized I'm not going to have the calibrated, tested and patched version of the modded game that I wanted. Because I'm not like new to modding. I've modded tons and tons of Skyrim playthroughs. Like I think my last major Skyrim modded playthrough had like, I want to say like 2000 mods or maybe 4000. I can't remember, but it was like super modded, and the things that I downloaded to patch things were there. And everything just worked because I spent the time to kind of I followed it, like a collection for this playthrough. I followed like a collection or like a mod list. What I ended up doing was I pretty much redid all of the models and a bunch of the graphics stuff, but then I just added a very small amount of gameplay tweaks, and I added some other gameplay things. Like I added um one of the playthroughs I had like dodging in the game, and I had like the ability to slide into perfect block, and things that like completely changed the talents and the skill trees and things like that. So um but it only ended up being like a handful of mods doing that, and then just a ton of graphics mods, because Skyrim is a pretty old game. Even with the special edition, it still is pretty old and can definitely be upgraded. So I ended up doing that. So I'm not like a newbie when it comes to modding. However, I'm a newbie when it comes to modding Oblivion. I've never modded an Oblivion playthrough up until this point. When I first played it, it was on the PS3, and I have probably half a dozen playthroughs on the PS3 for Oblivion. When I moved to PC, I played it only on Steam, unmodded, and I got a handful of playthroughs there, like maybe two. Um, so I've never actually changed anything in Oblivion. I've played it the way it is. With the remastered version out, it's got that new paint, new layer of paint. It's got the Unreal Engine in it. Um, it looks amazing. And honestly, there are a lot of things that I like about Oblivion over Skyrim. Some of them are kind of small, but like some of them are the bigger gameplay ones. Like I like the ability to be able to run and jump. You don't have that in Skyrim. You got to mod that in. Dodge, got to mod that into Skyrim too, but at like I think it's like at rank 25 acrobatics or something like that. You just get it in Oblivion. So um there's a lot I had to do in Skyrim in order to get the kind of gameplay that I wanted to do, the playthrough that I wanted to do. With Oblivion, it's kind of all baked in a little bit. Um, so I have a ton of mods here. A lot of them, like 80% of them is echoes of Oblivion, and then I added a bunch of my own. Um, just because like the pleasing palettes, that stuff is mine. This one is mine, for example. A bunch of sounds I added and changed, like some of the monsters like Daedroth and Wraiths and stuff like that. They're all going to sound different. um I changed my swinging animation for a sword so it's a little faster, because I am going to be using a claymore. But I hate how you swing and then you hold it there, because for one, when you're trying to block, why would you just hold it there for like a second before you swing again or can do something else? So now I just have like a swing attack. Oh, sorry. I just have like a swing attack, which does a lot more damage quicker. I've modded in a mod called Modern Combat, which completely adds like a whole new layer of combat. That basically means I can hit stop, so I can attack and stop. I can block, timed block. So like if I perfect block, it like slows the camera and it gives me the opportunity for like a second to like assess my surroundings. Um it gives me the ability to, like, when I swing I can stop and block instead using a two-handed weapon. I like that ability. It's a little less unrealistic, but it feels better gameplay wise, and I feel like I needed that, even though I've played through the game on the PS5 like I don't know, twice I think at this point. The one major flaw I've always had with the claymores, you swing and then you hold it like that, and then you swing and then you hold it like that. It's just like it really slows down the game and ruins my immersiveness, especially for the kind of play style, the kind of character I'm building. So things like that. I got like a whole new, this Oblivion Music Legend Chapter 1. It adds like a ton of new music, and I've been in the game like testing different things as I mod, and I forgot I had this, and it's just like, wow, this sounds really good. it reminds me of when I was modding Skyrim heavily, like my last Skyrim modded playthrough, and I had like thousands of mods, and I added like a ton of music, and it like changed some of the music, but it worked and it sounded good. And this is reminding me crazily about that. Um yeah, there's some like armor additions. There's like no mods for adding weapon expansions or like different armors. That's just something that's not in any mod and any of the mods at all yet. So it's just like can't do much with that. Um and I've also added like Vampire Hunting Fighters Guild Infinitum, which basically gives me the ability to like go and take jobs over and over again to make coin, which is going to play into my character's story and lore and stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty much like I added dodge iframe because I feel like if you dodge in the game, you still don't like dodge the attack. I feel like you have to dodge and then have to have an like invincibility frame in order to for that to matter. So I added that. I added a single button dodge, so I don't have to you don't have to hold up your sword to block and then press a button whenever you want to dodge. It's just like you can just be there and press a button and dodge away. That should have been mandatory. I feel like that should have been in the game as it is. Little more durable armor so they don't break in 2 seconds, like things like that, that I feel need to be added, need to be helped. But that's kind of what I was going for. Especially with the whole health thing. I'm gonna keep the health thing. There's no way I can really remove it without ruining the collection that I downloaded. So I've got upwards of like 200 mods. I've got the dodge invincibility frames, the perfect blocks. Um, I added like a camping system, so like I can summon a bed. Basically, it's kind of funky because you summon a bed like it's a spell, but really it's just like a what it really is like you could just put down a chest, you could put down a chair, you could put down a bed, you could put down either combination of all three or all three at the same time. But what that allows me to do is like if I'm outside and I want to sleep and I'm near like a fire or I'm like in the forest or something like that for a little bit of immersion, I can go to sleep for the night, wake up the next morning, but I can also use it as a way to heal. Um so that's kind of exciting. Um and so like all these little things that I've done to the game are going to help me enjoy actually playing the game and not worry so much about my health being low all the time. It's still going to suck cuz the regen ain't going to come into play, especially like after I'm done combat. Um so I'm going to have to like hold on to my potions and like heal at perfect good times. But I think I'm going to do heavy armor. I haven't like really decided I want to do heavy armor, but I'm just like I like the idea of being light armor and moving around easily. But I guess we'll have to see. Um as for my character, so I am playing like a mercenary type of character. And what that means is my character is going to be kind of like a mercenary who um basically finds jobs wherever they may be, whether it be like hunting a monster or helping like the fighters guild. Like I have that infinitum thing where I can do right here where I can keep doing fighters guild stuff, things like that. That's kind of like where this character is going to be going. And I have this really cool idea. for the class name, I guess you could call it. And basically, the character class name is going to be Wraithan. I kind of wrote a little bit of a story here, or like lore. It's very, I put this together very quickly, so it's going to be like kind of funky. But basically, the Wraithan is a human that's gone through the rite of ascendance. And the rite of ascendance is done by shamans. And what it consists of is ectoplasm from a wraith, uh, injected directly into the veins of somebody. And then these shaman use alchemical concoctions to basically allow the ectoplasm to not immediately kill the human or the person. And what this is going to do is allow for like muscle malleability and skeletal malleability and the ability to like uh, gain more strength and be stronger, be more agile, especially on the battlefield with whatever they're doing. Um, so yeah, for the volunteer is given an alchemical potion from the shaman. I named it Spearhead Shock. That might change. Oh, quick disclaimer too. When I play these kinds of games, I like to have like a bunch of lore and kind of be an RP a little bit. And my channel is definitely an RP light channel, but that means that I just like to write. I'm a creative thinker. I've been writing my whole life. And so I just kind of put this together in like an hour or two. So, um, if that's kind of what you're into for this playthrough, then please stay and join me. So basically, they drink that after injecting the ectoplasm into their blood. Concoction hits their nervous system like a warhammer bashing the head, just to kind of give you like an example of what it would feel like. Turns the ectoplasm into a conduit, allowing for the shaman to speak a ritualistic chanting or chant, connecting the soul to a font, an arcane font. Um, with this logic, I'm basically saying that some people in Tamriel don't have the ability to cast magic, but there is like in the dark beyond, or like in somewhere universally, there's like an arcane font that people can connect to. And then they give being connected to that font gives them the ability to cast like basic spells, basically. And while the chanting is happening, the potion induces muscle and skeletal mobility, like I was talking about, and they're considered like superhumans. They become very agile, quick, and very strong. Only about 2 out of 10 people survive the rite or the ritual. Um, so the story goes basically the shaman tried to do this 200 times and only 17 men survived. Um, they did this to fight against an emperor and his army. Ended up winning because they're like superhuman, but they spent the time like fighting and training with swords and other weapons and things like that, and just being quick and agile and everything. And as time went on, they learned new ways of fighting, um new swordplay techniques, which made them even better on the battlefield. And how they actually the modern day, like currently right now, because the stuff I was talking about before here is like way back in the day, like way back, we'll say like first era. um the modern day is they take young boys, and they recruited them because their bodies are young, they're more susceptible to the rite or the ritual. And then yeah, as they get older, they work and make the money. Now there's chapters. Chapters is how people differentiate the different parts of Tamriel in which these Wraithan work. And right now, the Path of the Jackal is what I'm going to be. My character's going to be a part of. Um, hailing from Hammerfell. Um, this idea I got straight from The Witcher. A lot of this is inspired by The Witcher, but like I tried to think of a way where people could like differentiate physically. There's not really much you can do, so I decided I just do a medallion. It's not gonna have any like funky magical things or anything like that. It's just gonna be your it's just gonna be a medallion, and it's just gonna have um it's gonna depict the jackal's head. The jackal is found in Hammerfell or the deserts of Alakir, and that's all it is. People will see that and be like, "Oh, you guys are part of the chapter of Wraithan who took the path of the jackal." Um, with the path of the jackal, they're trained in skilled swordplay, one-handed or two-handed, donning mostly light armor. However, there are some who wear that's supposed to be heavy. As I said, wrote this in like an hour and a half. Wear heavy armor, use cantrip magic, charm spells, fire bolts, shield spells, in some cases lighting spells. So that's just going to be like the alteration spell that is Mage Light, I think it's called, or something, if I want to. They use much more alchemy, which I actually have a book here from a previous playthrough where I wrote down different names of different potions and what I wanted them to do. So I'm going to be referring to that when I create potions. Um yeah. And so basically other chapters or paths during the era of the Septim Reign or the events of Oblivion, there are only two chapters, one in Hammerfell, the one that I come from, and one from Morrowind. Um Once we move into like Skyrim, there is Morrowind, Hammerfell, Cyrodiil, because the basic idea of me going into Cyrodiil, which I'll explain here in a minute, is to create a chapter in Cyrodiil. So at this point in Skyrim, there would be Hammerfell, Morrowind, Cyrodiil, and then the one in Skyrim, which would be the Skyrim would be the chapter who follows the path of the Wyvern. Introducing the Wraithian, Acom path of the Acom path of the Jackal. So if you notice Acom, if you rearrange that, that just says Mocha but backwards. And when I thought of that, I'm like, that's actually a really cool name. I'm going to be playing a red guard, and once you think about it, the red guard, uh, that sounds like a red guard name. So Acom, Path of the Jackal, Wraithian. So he's going to be a red guard. You got this is just depicting what he kind of looks like. Oops. This is going to be depicting what he looks like, which you guys will see once I go in and create my character. The Guildmaster Cyrus has proposed a job offer. Now this is where I take this is where my character begins his journey. My character is a young character. He's only been working with other Wraithen, and he hasn't been on his own. But Cyrus sees the potential in him and says, "Hey, I have a job for you. Journey east into Cyrodiil, make a name for yourself working solo into the lands of Cyrodiil, where Wraithians are currently not stationed. Look for work wherever you can, investigate, hunt monsters of the land, create new tomes and literature for the guild," meaning like if you hunt monsters or go uh, herb picking, record all this information, investigate as much as you can, be hired to do as much work as you can, so that this stuff can be sent back to the guild master Cyrus, or the main guild in Hammerfell, where the maester is going, who is like kind of just the protector of like the library or the literature that is in the main Hammerfell fortress, for us to just kind of do our job better. After enough time, he says, I would like you to send me as much of the literature as you can for the library, like I just said. And then he wants me to start the charge, creating a new chapter in Cyrodiil. You will build a house, a base of operations in Cyrodiil to work out of. Choose a sigil for my new chapter, which is what that will be, and start the training creation of new Wraithans to help build that chapter. That's kind of what we're doing. Of course, that's not exactly how it's going to work out, because Oblivion has its own story, and we're going to like follow that, and the playthrough will follow through all that. So, Akam prepares himself for a journey, rides his horse through the mountains and borders of Cyrodiil, where the next chapter of his journey begins. Some days pass, and he starts a new job hunting a monster on the outskirts of the Imperial City. He knows nothing of who rules that land or who the authority of this place is, but he starts his work anyways. During the investigation of this monster, he hears a screaming of multiple men and women in the distance. He runs to investigate, only to find dead bodies everywhere and blood. Any evidence of men and foul play have gone, just dead bodies reside at the camp. Their belongings are ravaged. Food taken, blood everywhere. Bandits were here in large numbers, and these people didn't stand a chance. A problem aroused. The Imperial Guard showed up, staring. That's supposed to say staring, not starring. Staring Akam down. With his sword in hand, the guards insisted Akam was the intruder. Instead of fighting, which he could have, and won for that matter, he surrendered peacefully, only not to soil the Wraithian's image or name more than it already is, because I didn't talk about this, but the Wraithan, the reason why the Wraithan are called Wraithan is because they're technically mutants. Um, the ritual where they inject themselves with ectoplasm, the rite of ascension, what that is doing is it goes and changes the color of the skin to they become like, whoever survives becomes a like a very pale, they get a very pale visage. So for my character, he's going to be a red guard, but I'm going to try and make it a little more pale. It also changes their eyes to be a cloudy white, akin to if someone was blind. And I think that's going to be kind of cool to add the whole idea. Um, and because like all of that is how it is, people are kind of scared of the Wraithan. They know that they're mutants. They don't know what they're gonna do, or they don't know like how they act. If they're just gonna like roll up into a village and start murdering people because they're that scary and unknown to people, that sort of thing. Um, any more than it already is, and to not also murder innocent people just doing their job, trying to protect the realm. Basically meaning Akam didn't want to kill just Imperial guards because they were doing their job. This is where Akam is taken into custody, questioned relentlessly, and while getting no answers, interrogators beat Akam time and time again, then left to rot in a cell. This is where the events of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered game begin. Only time will tell what happens on Akam's future and what kind of nefarious beginnings initiate. And that, my friends, is where we are going to begin this playthrough.